You guys should know that I'm wearing a baby diaper as a pad right now. It was dark and it was late, and it was the only option that I had. That's not entirely true, but it was just the easiest, okay? Anyways, now that that's cleared up, let's talk about the time because everyone's been asking. And when I say everyone, it's literally one comment, but I'd like to tell the story of how I got hit in the back of the head by a hawk one time when I was asking for a sign to leave my ex and move back to Maui where I really wanted to be. In the back of the head. And it screamed at me. That hawk flew into the back of my head. That hawk! Full speed. Isn't this stuff? So I was living completely out of alignment with my truth once upon a time. And I was extremely distraught. My hair was falling out. I was just not okay in that relationship. You know how sometimes you just certain dynamics just don't make you feel okay. And that's okay. I've come to find out in this day and age at this point in my life that I don't need to try to contort myself or change or fix myself. It's just okay to not be okay with some kinds of situations and people and in places and with certain jobs, and you don't have to try to be okay. You can actually change. I learned that you don't have to make everything okay. You can actually decide to do it differently. So that's been really cool to find out. But for a while there, I was in, therapy, coaching, paying all this money to just like basically survive in a life that didn't feel good for me. And I was meditating and really trying to just like be okay. And when you realize that you're working that hard to be okay, you probably got to make a change first of all. And I love that part of the journey. I love the part where it's like you've tried everything and nothing's working. And it's like, cool, that means it's time to take a huge leap. And it's so scary, but it's going to be so rad because it is the breaking point where everything should be okay, but it's not. And therefore, it's time to make a change because the universe is pushing you towards the best life for you. So I'm at that point, but I don't know that yet. I'm just scared as hell, thinking I don't want to break someone's heart, thinking this is supposed to be good for me, thinking will I ever be happy, thinking is the thing that I think I want what I truly want? I don't know. And basically, I'm just unwell. I'm spending an hour in nature a day just to like stand up straight and function. And I'd already tried a million other things at that point to be okay, including weightlifting and eating meat and getting NAD IV therapy. Thank God that was covered by insurance like every single week. And, tapping, morning lemon water, somatic stuff, reading a book on anxiety, coaching. It's everything. Okay. Like I tried everything. And I remember I was walking through this naturey place that I always used to go, and at that point, I had actually brought my ex with me. It was the only day that I brought him with me. Normally, I'd go there alone. And for whatever reason, I just said, "Yeah, like come down with me." And we're walking through this place, through like this thicket, I don't know if that's a word, of oak trees. And so it's really dense. And we're just kind of walking off the path just a little bit, and all of a sudden, I don't believe I see anything. I think I'm just looking forward. I mean, I see it all in my head now because he painted the picture for me that as I'm walking, suddenly he yells out like, holy shit, or something like that. And I literally just, my head flies forward and I like almost have to catch myself on my hands. Like I didn't fall to the ground, but I like stumbled. And I don't know why my first impulse slash thought was, did somebody just throw a boomerang at the back of my head full speed? Which is so random. Never have I ever seen a boomerang in real life outside of like video games, outside of specifically The Legend of Zelda. You know what I'm talking about? The boomerang. Anyways, that's all that I know. Like, I don't know why a boomerang. That's just what I thought. And I felt like somebody just threw it at me as hard as they could. And so I'm like, ow, what the hell? And then he's just like, oh my God, dude, you just like, he starts telling me what happened. He's like, a hawk just flew out of the sky through that tiny little, like, basketball sized hole in the trees and just tucked its little wings in to come through that hole and just dive bombed you. And he was like, it was actually going a different direction. And then it like saw you and it turned itself and just like torpedoed straight into the back of your head. Like, what? And so I looked it up. Of course, I'm just like shocked and I was laughing so hard. I was so confused. And that was when I thought, okay, this feels like a sign. And you hear me refer to this moment a lot because it was literally my wake up call. There were many wake up calls, but I was like, okay, this is so unusual. I don't know anyone who's ever gotten hit in the back of the head by a hawk, so I feel like I need to look this up. And actually, this was when I was still kind of like in denial about my life not working for me. So, anyway, I Google hawk hitting you in the back of the head symbolism. Nothing, like, there's just Google's like, what? So, I write again, just hawk symbolism, and I find it says, listen to the divine, listen to the divine messages. And I was like, okay, I feel like I'm always doing stuff like that. I'm a spiritual girl. Like, I love that stuff. But I really wasn't at that point. I was like, la, 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 la. So it was like, listen. And I was like, okay, cool, whatever. And I remember also talking to some friends. I have a friend who had an animal sanctuary at the time, and I asked her if like she knew anything about this, and she'd volunteered with all kinds of animals and rehabilitation. And she's like, I have never heard of this happening to anyone before. So yeah, I started to feel like it was really for me, and I thought it was all cool and good. And then it was a cascade from that point on that I couldn't even control. Dreams, meditations, imagery, just songs, all of these things popping up, basically being like, let go, move on to your life. Life is waiting for you, and we have your back. And I know you're scared, but you will break away and break free and become a butterfly. And I was like, I don't know about that. How could I feel like I already feel so low? Like, I'm too scared. But it was so good for me because I ended up having the best. It was just the absolute best move I could have made to move forward with myself by myself. So I eventually did. But it took me like 3 months after the hawk incident. But that was the incident. It just hit me in the back of the head, full speed, a hawk. So I always say to people when they're looking for a sign, first of all, if you're asking for a sign, you're probably asking for a sign. You know what I mean? You probably know what you want already. If you really don't, because I have been there, I will say there is a what's the word, asterisk, or that starts with a C. Mi inglés. English is literally my first language. If you can't already tell, I don't know. Whatever that word, there are times where you actually don't know, and I went through that in my the with my current partner when I had this breaking point where I was freaking spiraling because I was so afraid to abandon myself like I did in my last relationship, that we were kind of in this in between because I just felt like he wasn't putting in work on something that I wanted him to put in work on, because I felt like that meant he had a certain level of drive and ambition that I wanted to see in him. And like, yeah, we can have standards for our partners 100%. We can see their full potential and like hope they rise and even push them to rise a little bit. But, I realized I was being extremely short. I mean, I guess it's just my bandwidth for having discomfort was really short, because I was really afraid to go through what I went through in my last partnership, where like nothing was comfortable for me, nothing fit, not even just uncomfortable, like truly non-negotiables. And I was just like sitting through it. And when I say non-negotiables, there wasn't like infidelity or things like that that I know of. But no, there wasn't stuff like that. It was more just like, see that little fly? Okay. There's so many flies out here. Um, but it was just things that I knew that were no's for me. And like I said, you do not have to contort to things that are no's for you. And it's hard, it's a hard line, because you see the people that are super intolerant and just like super, 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 super sensitive to everything and anything. Like, if that's you, you gotta like have the people in your life check you a little bit. But it's also, take it with a grain of salt. Like, are those people truly aligned with you, or are you contorting to them? It's hard. I gotta sit with this and then break it down for you to see like how to actually make sure that it's right. Because a good example for me is like, I had tons of people in my life that were like my family members, codependent as hell. And when they're like telling me I'm codependent, maybe it actually is something to listen to. But also I'm like, yo, bro, what? So like, you want to have people in your life that you definitely really respect to call you out, And see, this is where I was always afraid to like step into my power. So this is like for another conversation, how to actually define what is important for you to step into and where it's important for you to like loosen up a little bit. But what was really cool is I learned a lot through the experience of trying to loosen up. Like I'm talking doing EMDR therapy sessions to try to be okay with certain behaviors that my ex was engaging in. So like that's when you gotta I think that's a really fair gauge to just say no. You don't need to do all that. If these are like basic behaviors that you are intolerant about or things that are just like a little uncomfortable, then I think it's worth looking into. So, yeah, I always say this, get clear on the list of things that have harmed you, and those are your no's. So, big things like betrayal or inconsistency or people lying or whatever, okay? Anyway, back to this. So I finally found out that I didn't need to be doing all of these contortion, back bending things. I could just be me. And when I learned that I could do that, and I finally got all of the messages from the universe to stop, I guess what I'm saying is the signs were so loud in that partnership. And then my next one, there was nothing pointing me away from it, from even within me. I was just afraid to to lose my sense of self connection again. I was afraid to abandon me. And I just jumped the gun because I was just like, I'll never let myself go that far ever again, where I'm literally losing my mind and myself and my sanity and everything to be in a relationship. So that was a lesson learned on both ends. But I got another, I remember in the second relationship, I really was, or this current relationship, but the second breakup kind of point, I sat in my living room when I was in between trying to figure out what to do. And I was crying and I was tapping on a miracle and I was asking for a sign. And the miracle I was hoping for was like that this would be great, even though it's like literally not a miracle at all. It's just like is great. But I was sitting there like, oh my gosh, like is he gonna is this like self-abandonment? Is he gonna be who I need him to be? And like all of these things, which yeah. And as I'm tapping on the miracle, the our picture frame of us just fell off the freaking shelf and hit me in the back of the head. And I got scared because I was like, the last time I got hit in the back of the head was by a hawk. And that message was like basically leave. And so I didn't know what to do. And I was just like literally in freeze. I was frozen trying to figure out if that meant like you need to end it. It's a picture of you guys, us getting hitting me in the back of the head when I'm asking for a miracle about us. And it was just funny. I remember running it by my friends because I was so overwhelmed because of the past thing that had happened. And also, like, are signs even real? Is this even that? Is this little, am I asking? I'm asking for a sign, but I was tapping on the miracle of it, which again, it shows me what I actually want. Which it can be confusing again too, because sometimes what you really want isn't always good for you. And or like your heart can want it, but your body is falling apart, or like your brain can want it, but your heart and your body are like, hell no. So I had to run that checking system through myself too. But there's times where you're just really unclear. And so signs can come through very unclearly. In hindsight now, like everyone in my life was like, dude, I think that's a good sign. It's like you are tapping on a miracle and the picture of you hit you in the back of the head. Like this miracle is for you, kind of thing. It's of you guys together. And I was like, I don't know. And like in the end, it really does feel that way. And nothing in me was saying like, no. Everything in me just went into like red alarm, red alert, self protection mode because of my past experience leaving myself. There's a little hummingbird just like sitting on this little wire above me, which is so cute. Um, yeah, which I feel is all the joy. And so I'm somebody who does look for signs. I look for things and not even sometimes I don't even look. I just see things and I know. And so when you see it and you immediately know, that's when I think it's a sign to trust. If you're really like prying around looking, you can still take those things as omens or whatever they are for you, but I think the best ones are the ones that literally come out of nowhere because when it shakes that kind of sense into you, whether you like it or not, kind of thing, it's usually just an external reminder of your deeper inner knowing. And so it's like when those two worlds collide at once and it's freeing up the denial or it's freeing up the lack of awareness that you may have or lack of connection to a part of you. And I do happen to believe that's a spiritual thing and that there is something greater and that we do have spirit team, angels, guides, guardians, ancestors, etc., you name it, here working with us. And again, I always stick with the realist side too, that I've said many, many a time, whether or not this is something beyond us, it just reminded me of what I actually know. And that could be that. It could be just like tripping on a rock. Didn't have to be placed by God. Just happened to be the rock that's there. And it just shook something up in you that reminded you of who you are. So, no matter which way you spin it, it's really, really amazing when we can have these little wake up calls or these little moments that just bring us back. And it can be really intense when we don't want to face the parts of us or things that would actually rattle everything that we've designed to be comfortable around us. But dude, it's so worth it. It's so freaking worth it. And that's also why I say, like, connect to your intuition, connect to yourself. To me, connecting to my intuition is on the woo woo side, connecting to my spirit and connecting to the other realms that are here and present with us so that I can be always just attuned and listening a little deeper. But even if you weren't considering it like that, just think of your intuition as a connection to your freaking self. Think of your intuition as it's like strengthening a muscle to yourself. It's like getting the key to your heart, getting the key to the deeper part of your brain, the deeper part of your desires, the deeper part of what's going on in your body, instead of just slapping on pathology or a should route or ignoring everything that you actually are and ever wanted. And when I say what you are and wanted, I think that took a long time for me to understand how synonymous those two terms are. What we literally, whatever we want is what we are. It's like a calling back home to ourselves, just like the hawk is a reminder of, like, oh my gosh, this thing hit me in the back of the head. It's like me hitting myself in the back of the head, being like, what the are you doing? What are you doing, bro? What are you doing here? And that's the same. So it's like whenever even the glimmery exciting things, like, oh my gosh, I'm just like obsessed with everything Italy. It just like ignites me. It's like, well, that's probably because it's something in your soul telling you that there's stuff there that's you. That's you in externalized mirror form. So sure, if you can go there, go there. If you can immerse yourself in things like that because they're meant for you. You're meant to enjoy your life and you're meant to feel like you here. Like you're meant to feel fully alive. So let whatever guides you there bring you there. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that's all I have for you today. That's my little hawk story. Let me know how you liked that in the comments below. And if you have a moment that was really defining for you that like woke you up too, I'm super interested. And if you do have one of those moments or it's happened recently and you don't know where to go, stay subscribed because I have an e-course coming out in the next week or so, probably, on self abandonment and not doing that anymore and learning how to actually take that call that you're getting and what to do from there. Because once you get the call, I know it's so scary, but this is the best part. So you have yourself, you have your soul, you have your greatest life on hold, basically. The moment that hawk hit me in the back of the head, I was on the phone on hold with the greatest life ever. And I was just so scared and literally thought I was going to fumble and didn't know how to answer the call. And I was really freaked out because I was like, well, I already have like this going on and like this, job and this path. And basically, the truest part of me on the line was like, listen, I know you're scared and you don't see it all now, but trust me, trust me, trust me. And I am here to guide you through that part once you're on the line. Okay. Because that part is scary as hell, especially when you don't have a cheerleader, somebody who gets it, somebody who knows that there's more to life, somebody who knows what it's like going through that and what's on the other side. Because plenty of people will tell you, like, no, you should be comfortable where you are, or just learn to get comfortable in where you are. And you, like, I know, I know what it's like when there's a deeper call that's so loud that it's disrupting everything inside of you and you're scared shitless. But let's go. Let's go. That's what I'm here for. Honestly, that's my whole purpose in this entire planet, is to show people all you have to do is be brave. So, bless the hawks, bless all the signs, bless all the magic that disrupts you and brings you to your knees and makes you so scared that you can't breathe at night. Hell yeah. It's time to go, baby. All right. Thank you so much for being here. I hope that you have the most what beautiful day. Bye.